thinking about the other is something that I've been trying to teach to my children as well. And I think it's an important consideration of how to deal with society.
Yes.
And then we grow over the years, we come up into our responsibilities. I started working in the city in London. I did my MBA. I joined the board of the company, while at the same time being involved in what's happening in the Camargue, and in particular in the institute that my father started, which is now owned by a foundation, which I chair. And, over the years, you realize that, in fact, all this is very united.
Right.
It's a bit of an easy thing to say, but we are all humans, and we all have to live in the same environment. We have to share.
Right.
So for many, 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 many years, the success in business was associated with private wealth. Mm-hmm. We all know now that in the planetary limit thinking, you need to be able to allocate resources to everybody. Otherwise, there is no stability possible.
Yeah.
So the thesis of the book, the new nature of business, is based on this idea that if you really want to create sustainable prosperity, we will need to distribute richness, but also distribute work and also distribute responsibility in a more open manner.
Right. Does that imply that the companies who take that path also need to communicate that they're doing it? Or is it enough that they do it and then just hope that the world notices? Or does that matter?
I shouldn't say that to a communication specialist like you are, but frankly, it's an obvious thing. If you don't look at the common good, you're not going to be successful in the long term.
Right.
So our family company does not exist to create dividends and to increase the share price. It exists to serve the patient. Our purpose is finding new therapeutic solution to unmet medical need. We work for the patients, not for the shareholders. And that's something that a family business can say with aplomb, because we do happen to be the owners of the business. And so we can talk about that in a little bit more conviction than perhaps just financial investors who have a different agenda.
Yeah, although that's a different angle. I mean, I can imagine there would be some shareholders meeting, some annual general stockholders meeting where that message wouldn't go down very well.
Well, it would go down very badly if we were not successful. But my thesis is that you are more successful if you serve your purpose than if you just focus on the financial consequences.
Right.
The short-term profit maximization mantra, doxa, which is the things we've been taught at school. You run a business by growing the bottom line and the profit and loss. That's not necessarily the best way to run a business. When you take a decision of asset allocation and of risk management, you should understand why you exist. Companies are not there to make money, they're there to serve their purpose. Yes. And so we spend a lot of time in the family trying to define what our purpose should be. And the purpose we've settled on is doing today what the patients need next.
Yeah.
So it implies that you are profitable, because if you're not profitable, you can't exist as a company.
Right.
It also implies that you invest into the future so that you don't distribute everything you have immediately. But it also, and I think even more importantly, focuses on what the needs of the healthcare market is.
Yes.
And that is saving lives.
Yeah, of course. Would your advice be any different if you were talking to, let's say, an entrepreneur that had only 10 employees and was in more of a startup mode?
Well, I chair two juries who give prizes in terms of venture capital. And that's a conversation we have with our potential laureates all the time. Yeah? Mm-hmm. They say, well, my business is to create something that is actually sustainable. And for that, I need to make money.
Yes.
And that making money becomes more and more important. But I would contend that if you start a business, it's not just because you want to fill the bank account. It's because you also want to fulfill some sort of responsibility towards the society at large.
Right.
If I sell car, I sell mobilities, I need to understand why this car and why there and in that way. And that's not just a question of profitability. If profitability was the only one, all cars would be the same. And they're not, because we are different. We are humans. We work in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking that if an entrepreneurial company actually needs to generate the financial resources in order to then make this kind of mindset shift. Now, all along, I guess, it's possible for them to say the reason why we set up in the first place is to serve some kind of greater purpose than just making money and increasing our share price, when we eventually have shares that are on the market. If it would be the main focus of a company in its very earliest stages to fulfill these other goals and to leave the financial considerations aside, I'm guessing that there's a greater risk that they don't survive to make those kinds of lofty goals. What do you think about that? I mean,
I'm going to add a layer in what you said. What to me seems important is that we are in society, we are in life, we are in business because we want to be happy.
Yes.
We want to be able to fulfill ourselves. And being happy does not mean having the new Mercedes. Right? It means being in a situation where you can exploit your potential in a way that corresponds to the group. I think nobody is happy on his own. The drinking whiskey in front of the television, you can only do that from time to time. After a while, so what we want is to contribute. We want to be able to be part of a continuum. And some of us, entrepreneurially, want to do that by providing goods that society needs.
Yes.
And that's good. That's excellent. That's a wonderful motive to be able to move, to get out of bed in the morning. And yes, you do need to retribute it, about the word in English, reimburse or whatever. The money that's invested to you at the beginning.
Yes.
You need to look after it. But that's not the only aim. The reason you're starting your business is because it's your idea, it's your fulfillment, it's your dream. You go and live it. Of course, if you're unprofitable, you won't be a success. That's something we have to accept.
Yeah.
But then we have to, I use the word success, then we can go one step back. What is success? And that's what I was trying to say before. Success is happiness, individual and collective happiness. Yeah. And if we don't get into that direction, we are likely to lose our way. If the only reason we suddenly are in business is to maximize a short-term profit, it's narrow. It's more dangerous.
Right. I would agree with that. I think if you were to talk to any random entrepreneur, not like they're randomly walking around everywhere, but they all start with some kind of a dream, which is not just to get filthy rich or to it's not about the financial side of things. That's possibly a happy side effect for them personally. But what they do originally is they see a need for something that they know how to fulfill, or they think they can build a solution for a problem, right? So I am 100% behind what you're saying. I was just thinking, yeah, but you have to, you can't just go through life dreaming. You have to actually, generate some money with which you can actually make these things happen in the practical world, right?
In essence, you have to fulfill your business plan.
Yes.
So the original idea on the business plan is something that is your passion, your conviction, and you move into that business. After that, of course, it has to be profitable. I'm saying it again. This is a business. It's not an NGO. You can't just live on people's charity.
Right.
You actually have to deserve this. Now, where on the other side of the equation, where you should think is, how do we define success? Yes. Is success really the full bank account? Is success really materiality? Yeah. Or is success on a different level? If I succeed in making a business that's financially viable while satisfying my purpose, I mean, that's success. Not many people can do that, and not people can even claim that.
Yeah.